Hi guys, this is Nikita and I'm a second year student at SRCC, and today I'll be talking about 4 common mistakes that students make in their accounts exam and how to avoid them. So these are the mistakes that either I made or I saw other people making, and I thought of sharing it with you. So let's get started. So the first most common mistake that students make is to study accounts orally. Be it your weekly exams, your monthly exams, or your pre-board, you should never study accounts orally. You need to understand that it's a very practical subject, and unless and until you don't solve the questions by hand, you won't be able to solve it in the board exams. It's a very common practice for students to look at the illustrations and questions and all the adjustments, look at their treatments, and think that they know the entire chapter and they'll be able to do the questions in the exam. Even if you will be able to do the question in the exam, trust me, you will run out of time and you won't be able to complete the paper. So it doesn't matter if you know everything, you have to solve it by hand and not study it orally. All the small tests that you give in your school, in your tuitions, we all know that the marks of those tests do not matter, but please make it a practice to study for them by practicing all the questions. All of this practice will prepare you for the board exams and you will be able to solve all the questions in time. So the second thing that you should not avoid at any cost is time management. Generally, accounts exam is very lengthy and a lot of people have this problem that they're not able to solve the paper within the 3 hours. Only knowing the syllabus is obviously not enough. You need to learn how to manage your time and to complete that paper within those 3 hours. So what you can do for that is set a timer for 3 hours and try attempting a sample paper or a previous year paper within that time and see where you stand. I would advise you to solve at least 10 papers this way. Only then you will be able to reach a point where you are, one, able to complete all the questions, second, you're able to revise them, and third, you have the time to correct the silly errors that you make. Practice the question papers with the aim of completing the paper within 2 to 2.5 hours and leaving the last 1.5 hour for revision. So the third mistake that you have to avoid is using calculators. When we're practicing accounts at home, as there are a lot of calculations in accounts and big calculations, we tend to use calculators to speed up the practice. It will create a very big problem for you in the actual exam. If you use calculators regularly, you will lose the habit of doing the calculations orally and you will lose your speed. And as a result, even if you know all the answers in the exam and you're able to solve them, but you're not able to do all the calculations in time, eventually you won't be able to complete the exam and you will lose a lot of marks. So don't use a calculator. So the fourth mistake to avoid is to have a faulty study strategy. Now for most of the students, how they study a chapter is that they solve all the questions in one go, and after a while they feel confident in the chapter and they think that they've completed the chapter. When you move on to other chapters or other subjects, you sometimes lose practice of the chapter, and when you come back to it, you can't seem to remember what you did. In this scenario, if you are solving the entire chapter again, it will be very time consuming and very problematic if you don't have a lot of time left in the exams. So if this is your study strategy, then you have to change it. What you should do is, when you study a chapter in accounts, make it a habit to mark all those illustrations which cover a lot of concepts. Now when we're solving the illustrations, we know which one covers a lot of concepts and which one are the basic introductory ones. So always mark those illustrations which cover a lot of concepts. So how it would help you is that it would create a pool of 8 to 10 questions from the chapter that you can practice and revise the entire chapter in hardly 1 or 1.5 hours. So these were the common mistakes that you should avoid while preparing for your accountancy exam. I hope my video helped you in some way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.